The issue begins with Doc fast asleep, and when Doc's asleep, Peter comes out to play. A determined Ghost Peter now has the ability to move his own right hand. Before he can really hone his newfound discovery, Doc receives an alert of a crime in progress. The vigilante Dr. Cardiac is attempting to steal a supervillain's confiscated device to aid one of his patients. After arriving on scene, Doc sets up a perimeter and storms in to confront Cardiac. What begins as the now garden variety ferocious takedown by the Superior Spider-Man escalates to a higher level when Doc learns that Cardiac is after one of his own devices, the neurolytic scanner. As Doc is about to dole out the retribution for Cardiac's crimes, he is stopped by Ghost Peter. Cardiac uses Doc's momentary loss of control to escape. A furious Doc returns to his lab to find out what happened, but he is interrupted by a summons from the Avengers. Doc quickly responds to the call, assuming a dangerous new threat has arisen, but he is surprised to learn that the new threat in fact is himself. Having observed Spider-Man's changing personality, the Avengers want to run some scans. Doc, for obvious reasons, refuses. The situation intensifies when Cap essentially threatens to use force if Spider-Man refuses to cooperate. Doc does not take this threat well. It finally seems that Doc has crossed the line. Can the Superior Spider-Man take on the Avengers by himself?
So the Superior Spider-Man is going head-to-head versus the Avengers. It looks like it's going to be an awesome fight, and I like how on the teaser it said, like, AVSSM. Kind of poking fun at Avengers vs. X-Men.
It's very interesting that he's back in this role. This is the role he's familiar with. He's not fighting villains. He's not trying to save someone. He's back against the Avengers, back against the good guys. And now I think he has a far more powerful body. Doc Ock overall is proven himself to be, I think, a better combat Spider-Man. And I honestly think that in a 1-to-1 fight, he has a very good chance of beating most of the Avengers.
Yeah, between his spider sense and then also kind of the kung fu he's learned, he's, pretty overpowered.
And that was just Peter. Doc has his own way more ruthless fighting style to it. So some of the Avengers might not be ready for the cheap tricks, the technological little cheap shots he's going to be taking. Frankly, I think he has a very big advantage now.
So the other big storyline in this issue is Cardiac, who set up his own free clinic that helps people, but it's also illegal. I mean, they do have to go steal some of Doc Ock's intellectual property in this issue.
The neurolytic scanner, I think it was called. And that one device, I think, is massive foreshadowing.
Yeah, because that probably could detect that Peter Parker is now Doc Ock.
Yeah, I think that device in itself might, if not just the detection, I think it could be instrumental in simply bringing back Peter. Because I think it's very fitting that Doc Tech got him into Peter's mind, that Doc Tech is going to get him out in some way.
And when it comes to separating the two, Cardiac also pointed out, hey, you don't seem like the same Peter, and he kind of has the medical know-how to maybe detect that difference.
I think Slott is really setting up the instrumental pieces that are going to play key roles in how Peter is going to be back. That's why Cardiac's there, because maybe he's going to be the one that does the procedure. The Avengers are there just to, push this into actually happening. And I always bring this up, but Green Goblin's there, and I'm not exactly sure where he fits into this, but I do know that he's going to play a key role.
The other major piece of the puzzle there, though, is Ghost Peter, who can sometimes control Doc Ock, sometimes can't. What'd you kind of think of that?
I find it interesting that the key aspect of control seems to be a single hand.
Well, I think there's a learning curve associated with it.
Mm-hmm.
He is having trouble understanding how to gain control.
I'm curious to know whether Peter's newfound talent for, I guess, recontrolling his own body, does it have to do more with Peter gaining some insight going through Doc's memories, or is it maybe that Doc is just becoming more lax? I think of it as sort of a medical procedure where there's a host and then a donor, and then sometimes the donor is rejected. Is something like this possible in something where you have a mind going into someone else's body?
Again, I'm not sure. And there's also a lot of other questions associated with this. I mean, we haven't talked about it in a while, but Peter Parker died in Doc Ock's body in Amazing Spider-Man number 700.
Mm-hmm.
So is the Ghost Peter that same Peter, or is it
just a shadow of himself left over?
Yeah, or is it a copy, or... Who knows?
And if Peter is to regain control, would that mean that Doc's consciousness has to go to a different body? Does Doc's consciousness have to be completely destroyed? Will Doc be gone?
Maybe they'll just give Doc another body. Who knows?
I just imagine the worst thing where Doc just gets the body of like some young female, or like Doc gets like
Mary Jane's body. Another important point to realize when we talk about Ghost Peter is whether or not Doc Ock has caught on yet.
As he's about to deal, not exactly a death blow, but a really brutal blow to Cardiac, he feels someone really pull his hand back, and throughout the issue, he's been hearing voices, and at a certain point, he seems to realize, hey, something's wrong.
He said, "Who's here?" at one point and stuff too. So I think he might be starting to catch on as well. So I think that'll make it kind of like a race to the clock to, save Ghost Peter as well. So as a grade for Superior Spider-Man number 7, what would you give it?
I'd give the issue a 3.5 out of 5. It was still a very good issue, but Superior Spider-Man has been so impressive lately, I felt that it wasn't as good as some of the past issues.
I'm going to give this issue a 4 out of 5. It was a lot of fun to see Ghost Peter kind of cheering while his actual body was fighting the Avengers, and I thought that was kind of funny. And the rest of the issue was pretty solid. We really get to see pieces being put in motion to bring Peter back.
Thanks for watching B3 Comics review of Superior Spider-Man number 7. Before we go, we have a question for you.
In a 1-versus-1 fight, which of the Avengers do you think could beat Spider-Man?
You can leave your thoughts in the comments below, and if you like what you see, give us a thumbs up, and don't forget to tell your friends too.